And welcome to LSU Tigers Live on the Voice of College Football Network. I'm one of your co-hosts, Grant Sasheray. The other person on the screen, will be to the right, is Zach Jenda, of course. He is you probably seen him a lot, of course, on Twitter as and the Valley Shook. But he's got both those Twitter handles are right below. And also, they're right here on the bottom of the screen right here as well. And of course, you can follow me at Sasha Grant. And of course, some of my written content about LSU is also on CrescentCitySports.com. And Zach, we had a very busy weekend, of course, with the draft. You also had LSU baseball being Tennessee. I think that's how we're going to start the show. We have to talk about that because that was humongous. Also, LSU made some moves. Of course, we got one of the top defensive line prospects, or if not the top defensive line prospect, depending on who you ask. And also, we signed a cornerback. Cole Raymond is still putting in work in the recruiting trail, and you can see why Brian Kelly brought him back to BR during the last off season, which was January 2024. But Zach, let's dive straight into LSU baseball. Of course, LSU it seems like it's a theme where they just have a weather delay and they just gotta have to make us stay up all night. That was game one, and it's still a fairly packed stadium. The game was supposed to the first pitch was supposed to be at 7 o'clock, 7:30. And it didn't start till 9:55 p.m. So the LSU faithful were still in play. We're still in the stadium. But the game did not start off so hot, right? LSU was down 3-0. And then they scored 6 unanswered in the ninth inning. The reason why it was 6-3 is because Jared Jones, when the game was tied 3-3, Jared Jones hit a 3-run walk-off home run to win the game. They got set off, and LSU, whenever LSU and Tennessee get to play against each other, you're always going to expect you're always going to have a wild ride. It's always going to come down to the last inning. Game 2, Tennessee took that 9-3. Just LSU fought hard, but then Tennessee just got rolling behind the bats. And LSU, which has kind of been a theme all year, just really had not gotten it going from behind the plate. And Tennessee just hit the ball better. But then when you get to game 3, Tennessee got to an early lead, but then LSU just smoked them. Derek Coryell is easily, in my opinion, the SEC Freshman of the Year. He is leading LSU in batting average, 373. Just keep this in mind. Dylan Cruz had a 364 batting average his freshman year. So Derek Coryell is already doing better than Dylan. And, of course, we still got a long way to go. Now, Derek Coryell may not have the power that Dylan Cruz had, but if you look at some of the tools that Derek does have compared to Dylan, very, very similar. And LSU is really grateful to have him. But also, Chris Stanfield has been hitting the ball pretty well. He actually leads LSU in batting average through SEC play. But we'll break down more and more as the games goes on. But Zach, I want to hear, what did you think about this weekend? And last week, we talked a lot about LSU and, whether or not we know they're going to host. We know they're going to host, but, we want to know if a super original to play. And the goal was to at least get around the 18 to 20 win area. With a series win over Tennessee, it seems more and more likely every day.
Yeah, you're at 14 league wins now with 3 weekends to play. So 9 more opportunities. So if you got to get anywhere from 4 to 6 wins, that seems pretty doable. Game 1 was, we don't put up banners or anything around these parts for just regular season wins, but that game 1 Friday night, Saturday morning, that's going to be one to remember for honestly maybe like the rest of your life. That's they're calling it the Rally Toss'em game. Just complete highway robbery. There's no reason LSU should have won that game. And honestly, LSU probably should have been going into Sunday just saying to themselves, let's not get swept. But Tennessee gave you that game Friday, and you know what? That's okay. That's baseball. These things kind of even out sometimes. And to your point about Curiel, how about that? To have your 44 game on base streak snapped on Saturday, and what did he do? He came out going 4-for-4 with a walk, a double, a homer, or two doubles, a homer, leadoff home run in the first inning, flirted with the cycle, just missed it by a triple, but to go for 4-for-4 at the plate, reach base all 5 times, that's a pretty good way to come back with a vengeance. Is this a sign of things to come offensively? Who knows? I mean, it was call a spade a spade. This was Tennessee's bullpen. LSU feasted on, but you know, you still gotta make these. You still have to hit these pitches. And LSU the past couple weekends haven't really been hitting all that great. And for my money on Sunday, I don't know if Casan Evans is going to be the Sunday starter from now on, the Game 3 starter from now on, but I would wager that his start Sunday, 6 innings, 2 runs, I believe it was like 5 hits, 6 hits, no walks. Most importantly, no walks. For my money, Grant, that's the best pitching performance by an LSU pitcher this year, outside of Kade Anderson's complete game against Oklahoma, obviously. That's a game that LSU had to have, and you turn to a freshman not only making his first ever SEC start, that's his first ever career start. And he got shelled pretty early in that first inning. Tennessee tagging for 2 runs. And a couple of the other fly ball outs to the corner outfields, left and right field, those are hard hit balls. And credit Jay Johnson, he came out and he said something to him on the mound. And Evans just became a new pitcher after that mound visit, and threw up 5 straight zeros and let LSU get back into this game with their bats. If this is what the plan is now moving forward, Evans starts game 3, this could alter the trajectory of LSU's season for the better, because maybe now you've got that elusive third starter. And I don't know if that's how they're going to use him, but if that's LSU's path, LSU's a really dangerous, even more dangerous team moving forward.
Yeah, and to kind of give you guys a refresher, so Tennessee got off to the lead in it was actually, the thing is that Kade Anderson had a hell of a game, and a lot of people forget that really he was one of the reasons why LSU was even in the game from the get-go. I mean, he had 11 strikeouts. I mean, it's just another money-making type of game for Kade Anderson. I mean, through 7.1 innings pitched, he allowed 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned on 6 hits through 7 innings, and also had 11 strikeouts. It's just another big-time game from him. And, a lot of times, since Paul Skeens, really, you've had a lot of high expectations for LSU pitchers. And now some of it's unfair because what Paul Skeens did that year in 2023 was just unhuman. It was just not human at all. Like, he broke, what's his name?
Ben McDonald.
Ben McDonald. Yeah, I don't know why. How did I forget his name? I know. I was thinking in my mind, but I couldn't come out with it in my mouth. But yeah, he broke Ben McDonald's 30-plus year record, and a lot of people thought that could never be done again. And just because that was in 1986, right? Or 1985. I didn't know he was 1986, and stuff like that doesn't get broken for a little while. I mean, look at all the college baseball records. I mean, those are hard records to break, just because it's baseball. Baseball records in general take a while to get broken. It's just in general, but if you look, 11 strikeouts. I mean, he's almost putting up Paul Skeens type of numbers. Just ever since we started SEC play, it's just like a whole new level of Kade Anderson that we have not seen before. But if you go back to the recap, Tennessee took the lead in the top of the 6th inning. It took a little while for them to finally kind of break through. That was by Andrew Fisher. He was able to get an RBI single up the middle, and so Tennessee was up 1-0. Tennessee scored again in the top of the 8th when Hunter Ensley hit again, an RBI single this time to right field. And then in the top of the ninth, when it really seemed like it was kind of the dagger, and not really the dagger, but when you got 3-0 in the bottom of the ninth, it just seems unlikely for the home team to kind of get through. That was hit by Gavin Killen, and that was the second hit of the game, and that was again an RBI, RBI double to left center. But then some magic started to happen, right? Dalton Beck. He has a big time hit. And really, I think if I remember correctly, Dalton Beck was actually was he a pinch hitter?
Yeah, he was a pinch hitter, and he only had like 5 at bats on the season, 6 at bats on the season, only 1 SEC at bat. And the reason this whole thing even is happening is because of 2 errors by I'm blanking on his name, but the Tennessee third baseman has 2 fielding errors. If any one of those are converted, the game's over, and it's 3-0. Tennessee takes game 1. But the box is magic sometimes, and that voodoo that it got him, and LSU's a beneficiary. And yeah, shout out Beck he smoked the ball right up the middle to make it a 3-2 game with the bases loaded. Jay knows this roster pretty well, and he wanted a left-handed bat against a right-handed pitcher, and it paid off.
Yeah, man, and just the fact that this when he came into play, I'm like, Dalton Beck, has he even played? He's one of the biggest at bats of his life. I mean, Mike, what I'm saying, like, it's just one of those things where it's just anything can happen at any moment. And I'm actually looking at the roster right now to see, if I think he might be a freshman. Don Beck, where you at, Don? Where you at on the roster, Don Beck? Yeah, so he's a senior. He transferred in from Incarnate Word. Right? He's listed as outfielder, first baseman, and a left-handed pitcher. So I guess he does it all for LSU. But the fact that it's fit that bat, it might have been the most impactful at bat of LSU season. It's pretty wild. But then later that same inning, there, Curiel has an RBI single to the right side of the field, and that tied the game. And that's when LSU – and this, by the way, that was with – if I remember, that was a 2-out. So that was a 2-out RBI single. I mean, just another big-time hit.
Not just 2 outs, Grant, but on a 1-2 count as well. He was down to 2 strikes. Like that, Tennessee was a pitch away from ending that thing.
Yeah. Well, 1-2 count, just incredible. Another big-time hit from the freshman. It almost seems like he's not a freshman. It just seems like he's been playing college baseball for 3 years now. And, of course, we had the Jared Jones homer to center field. And actually, I saw on Twitter a great view of the home run. I'm not sure if you saw it, Zach, but it was by Chris Phillips. Chris Phillips, of course, he had SEC Unfiltered. I think if you're kind of on SEC Twitter, you know who Chris Phillips is. And he had it. And if you guys haven't, I'm going to share with you guys. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely incredible. Let me pull this up for you guys here. It's just an incredible shot. You can tell like the crowd's really getting to it. And by the way, this is like at 1:55 at night, y'all. Yeah. This is at 1:55 at night.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is what posted. Well, it's put like 1:21. But look what it's posted. This was posted like shortly after he hit that home run. I mean,
he just murdered that ball. That's dead center over the batter's eye.
He murdered it. I mean,
that's as loud and as hard and as far as you could possibly hit a ball in that stadium. That's
he pimped that
shit. He's right.
He really did pimp it. I mean, when I saw that on TV, I'm like, oh my God, he absolutely pimped that ball. I mean, like Jared Jones, he's the bear for a reason. I know a lot of people kind of, trash on Jared Jones and sometimes, but I mean, like Jared Jones has been the most consistent power hitter for LSU the last 3 seasons. There's a reason why. He came back because he wanted to prove his MLB stats, but or MLB, draft stock. That's where the name is looking for. But he's had a solid year for LSU. I mean, if you look at the stats, I mean, yes, I know he's seen as more of a power hitter, but I mean, if you look at it, I mean, he's batting 358, right? That's a massive improvement because of the fact that we all know Jared Jones has been known as a strikeout merchant at times. But I mean, yeah, he leads the team in strikeouts at 46, but he's massively improved his batting average, 358, and he has a 458 on base percentage. And if you go to the SEC play, I mean, yes, he's struggled a little bit more because it's SEC play, but he's batted 256. But he also has 18 RBIs. I mean, he has 3 home runs. And look, I get he may be struggling in SEC play, but he's been one of the more important hitters on LSU. And there's a reason why. Look, that home run right there, like any point, he's gonna pimp it, right? If you give him the right pitch, he's gonna pimp it. That's the type of power hitter he is. And once again, like Jared Jones, it's in my opinion, of course, the heroes of the game: Jared Jones, Derek Curiel, Kade Anderson, and of course Dalton, which I'm not sure when his next at bat's going to be, but if that is his last at bat, it's probably the most impactful hit, not only of course his career, but of LSU season. That was a season of a momentum changing type of hit, because not only did he effectively win the game for LSU eventually, but also you're probably going to host a super regional because of that, and that only impacts your chances of going to Omaha. But go on to game 2. But game 2, of course, that it didn't go LSU's way. They lost. I'll pull up here.
9-3.
9-3. Yeah, 9-3. And if you look at Andrew Eisen also had a great game as well. It's just, it isn't look at like that on the score sheet because the LSU lost 9-3. But I mean, he also had 8 strikeouts as well. I mean, he was dealing up until kind of late in the game, and that's when things kind of got out of control. But he also had another outstanding performance, just got overshadowed by the fact that Tennessee really started to hit the ball late, which is kind of the theme, right? I mean, Tennessee really doesn't score much at the beginning, and then they really did start get going until the 7th inning because they scored 6 runs in the 8th, Zach, and that had nothing to do with Anthony Niansen. 5.2 innings pitched, allowed 6 hits, but he also had 8 strikeouts. So another decent performance by him. And he's been consistent all year. But you got to the bullpen, and it just didn't fare well for them, right? I mean, Chase Short allowed 4, although none of them were. Only one was earned. He allowed 4 runs. Maverick Grizzly allowed a run, and Cooper Williams allowed 2 runs, and most of those were in the 6th inning. Like I said, Tennessee scored 6 runs in the 8th inning, which was, of course, the biggest difference in that game. But if you go to game 3, LSU just showed who was boss. I've never seen – that was probably the most dominant performance I've seen from LSU in a long time. Well, not in a long time, but I would say since 2023, where LSU run-rolled Arkansas. And I think that was it was game 2 or game 3 of that series. But yeah. LSU beat Tennessee 12-2. Derek Curiel, of course, 4 hits. Well, with 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs and a home run. I mean, he was outstanding. Jared Jones had a solid performance, 2 for 4 from the plate. With no RBI. He had 2 for 4. He did have an RBI, but once again, 2 for 4. And he also scored a run. I mean, Jake Brown 3 for 5 from the plate. Oh no, 1 for 5 from the plate. But on that one hit was a 3-run.
Yeah, made it count.
What's up?
He made it count.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, if you get 5 at bats and 1 was a home run, I mean, shoot, that's a decent performance. Although you would like to get more than 1 hit in your 5 at bats, but Luis Hernandez 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. It's just another great. I mean, it was probably one of LSU's better hitting performances because it was consistent throughout. Right, it wasn't like they were slow and then they got hot at a certain point in the game. No, it was consistent throughout the game, which is something you want to see from LSU as they beat 12-2. Of course, Zach already mentioned Casan Evans' first start as a freshman. Yes, he got rocked a little bit early, but of course Tennessee scored 2 runs in the first inning, but that was the only 2 runs he would score the rest of the game, rest of the way. He had 6 strike. He finished with 6 strikeouts, and of course Zach Cowan came in and sealed the deal. And although he only pitched 2 innings, he also had 2 strikeouts. But that's because LSU run ruled Tennessee. So,
yeah.
So I really like that duo, like being the day 3 duo. Like you start with Casan Evans, and then you go with Zach Cohen, or you can do it vice versa because both those guys were starting pitchers. I mean, really, Zach Cohen is a starting pitcher, right? He was an ace for Wofford last year.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I would love that game 3 as a tandem as well moving forward. I'm not sure how much they can keep playing that card though. I mean, Calvin only threw like a dozen pitches Friday night, so he was pretty fresh to go. And Evans didn't throw it all up until, or obviously didn't throw at all up until Sunday. So I'm wondering if that'll be kind of how Jay plays it moving forward. You know, the least used guy starts at Sunday, and then the guy who has the least wear and tear finishes. You know, maybe Evans starts and then Cowan finishes, and then next weekend Cowan starts and Evans finishes. Maybe the roles reverse. Yeah, Cowan was more than willing, or more than able, more than qualified to be a starter, obviously. And Evans, I mean, this might be your Friday night starter for the next 2 seasons. So it might be a good idea to keep on ramping him, especially letting him have that SEC experience, because we're seeing, I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the kid, but look at William Schmidt, the difference between non-conference ball and midweek ball. I mean, they're playing Southeastern right now. I'm expecting Schmidt to get some run tonight, but non-conference, out-of-conference opponents versus SEC, it's a whole different animal. And Schmidt, he'll probably get there one day. It's not happening yet, and that's okay. He's growing. But Evans, he's ready right now. So I think you gotta ride that for as long as you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of times get day 3, you just kind of throw whoever on the field. This is like the first time where LSU kind of has an idea what they're doing day 3. And since Jay's first year, because remember Jay's first year, day 3 usually pitched Grant Taylor or Sammy Dunn, vice versa. And it was a fantastic duo. I mean, that was really Sammy Dunn's only good year. I would say good year at LSU, because the other years were kind of so. But I'm glad he's picked it up at Auburn. He's doing well at Auburn, so good for him. But him and Grant Taylor were just awesome. At day 3, especially a lot of times that was the rubber match for LSU, and they did a great job of being that 1-2 punch. And Zach Cowan and Casan Evans are that for LSU, because really Zach Cowan, if he was at any other school, he would be the starting pitcher. He would be a starting pitcher, but just because of the amount of depth on LSU's pitching staff, which is the first time in a while that Jay's really the first time ever that Jay's had that at LSU, and barring 2023, but that's because of injuries in 2023, that they have a deep pitching staff. And so if they can keep this going, man, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, if you look at their schedule, I mean, after this, you got A&M. Yes, I know Blue Ball Park's a very tough place to play. A&M will be challenging, but LSU is favored in that game, right? A&M has had an up and down season. Arkansas could be tough, and so would be South Carolina. But at least Arkansas, you have them at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the good thing as well. And also, that's my birthday weekend. Awesome.
It's Mother's Day weekend, yeah.
Yeah, so that's Mother's Day weekend. And of course, you finish out the season with a road trip to South Carolina, and when Paul Maneri, of course, the former LSU head coach, is now the head coach of South Carolina after he came out of retirement. Tonight, LSU will take on Southeastern. That game will be on ESPN Plus. So yeah, if you have ESPN Plus, you'll probably be able to find that. And then this weekend you have A&M. And we'll go do something later in the week about A&M and maybe do a little preview, something like that for you guys. But then, of course, the last non-conference game is against Grambling State. And then before you have the 2 conference series between Arkansas and South Carolina with no non-conference in between them. And then, of course, the SEC tournament in Hoover is May 20th through the 25th. So a great opportunity. These next 3 series will determine whether or not LSU has a super regional. I think if you win 2 out of the next 3, you're definitely going to host a super regional, and that I think they can, right? I mean, all these next 3 series are very winnable for LSU. Obviously, Arkansas is going to be the most challenging one because it's Arkansas, and they're one of the more traditional powers in the SEC. But this is a great opportunity for LSU moving forward if they want to host a super regional.